Welcome back for another Waterfowl Wednesday. Today we're talking decoy spreads. This is a very popular subject when it comes to new hunters or existing hunters. Everybody's looking for different ideas when it comes to decoy spreads, so hopefully this video helps you guys out today. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. Leave me a thumbs up if you haven't already. It helps these videos get to new viewers and helps me teach everybody how to duck hunt. So when it comes to decoy spreads, there is a few different factors you need to look at. Number one is your hide. Your hide is going to make the biggest difference, whether you're setting your decoys up one way or another. Another thing to consider is the wind direction. Your wind direction makes a big difference as well, because ducks and geese will always land going into the wind. So preferably you want to set up with the wind at your back so you can shoot them coming straight to you. But a lot of times that's not possible, whether you're hunting crosswinds or your hide is better set up for, side shooting them. I always like to try and shoot them coming straight into me, but sometimes that's not an option. So my first decoy spread for you guys is the generic U-shaped spread. Everybody and their dog uses this one. It works really good because it funnels the ducks in. This is a perfect spread to use when you got a wind at your back situation and you're running, I'd say, anywhere between 2 to however many dozen decoys you want, really. You can make it as big as you want, but when it comes to decoy spreads, you can get away with 2 dozen decoys or even a dozen decoys. But with a dozen decoys, I do gotta say that your shape isn't really gonna matter. With it being such a small spread, just toss those dozen decoys out and you're good to go. But when you add more decoys, you're able to kind of funnel those birds down a landing strip, let's say, to be able to get them in where you want them to go. So wind at your back, U-shaped spread. Here's what I like to do. I like to grab a dozen decoys at a time and start on one end of the spread and work my way around. And I'm able to judge how much space I need to leave between my decoys as I'm throwing them out, because I have a vision in my mind of what I'm looking for. And I start on one end of the U and work my way up and around the U to the other side. So I don't run out of decoys at one end. I'm always monitoring how many decoys I have left and how many decoys are out on the water. Hunting with your wind at your back with a U-shaped spread is great because it just gives you a really wide landing strip for the birds to come into the decoys. Everybody can pop out of the blind, shoot straight forward, and everybody's gonna have a great time shooting birds. But that's not the case all the time. This is one of my favorite ways to hunt. If I'm able to set this spread or do something like this, I will, because it's simple, it's easy, and it works. When it comes to motion decoys, you can add the water motion decoys. I like to sprinkle them throughout the spread. Same thing with the jerk rig. Jerk rig, I like to put right in the middle where I want the birds to focus and land in. But when it comes to motion decoys, let's say I like to run about 4 water motion decoys in my spread if I can. So I sprinkle them throughout that U-shaped pattern to add motion to the decoys throughout the whole spread. Spinning wing decoys, you can do a lot of different things with them. So you can put them on the corners of your spread, you can put them in the kill hole, and don't be afraid to move them around depending on how the birds are acting. I've even taken spinners and put them outside the spread just to act as something to get their attention, then they focus on the spread and come in. So there's a lot of different options you can do with the spinners, but generally speaking, if you're looking for a textbook, just kind of cookie cutter way to do it, make your U-shape, and then inside that U, on each corner of the U, maybe about halfway down to the middle of the bend, go ahead and put 2 spinners there, or even just stick 1 right in that kill hole. That's gonna be a great place to start for you guys, and you can just watch the birds, see what they're doing. If they're not committing, make a few adjustments, and you should be able to get it all dialed in. Spread number 2 is a J-hook spread. It's similar to the U-shape, but I like to use it when I'm side shooting. So let's say my hide is really good on the edge of this pond or edge of a marsh or somewhere where I've just got a really good hide, right? But the hide is not working well with the wind. So I have to set up with the wind coming sideways instead of at my back. And so what I'll do is I'll set these decoys out in a J shape. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to run the J hooking along the bank and then out into open water. Let's say the wind is coming from the left side of the screen and I'm gonna run those decoys down from the right side of the bank, going down and hook it out into the middle of the spread. It's kind of hard for me to talk about this and explain it, but you guys are seeing it on the screen right now, so it's kind of making a little bit of sense. You can make this hook as big as you want. Obviously, the more decoys you have, the better it's going to really look. But that hook is going to work as your kill pocket. It's going to give those ducks, you know, like in the U-shape, they're going to come right in, follow that wind straight down into that little pocket. And so that's going to be your kill hole. But the J hook is great because you line that bank, it gives you a little bit more visibility, but it also kind of works as a little bit of a runway for those birds to come down. Works great for field hunts, and it works great for water hunts. So it's a really solid option when it comes down to side shooting birds. It's really, that's the only time I'm going to use it, is when I'm hunting a crosswind. But it's a great little spread. You can do the same thing with your spinners. You can put your spinners in the kill hole, maybe on the upwind side of the U, or sprinkle them all throughout. Like motion decoys, your water motion, you want it to move your decoys. And your spinning wings, you want to either put it where your ducks are going to land, or put it to where the spinning wings are just used for attention grabbing. So there's a lot of different options. I can't give a solid answer because personally, I move my spinners around more than I move anything else, because sometimes making those little adjustments with your spinners can make the biggest difference. So that is the J hook. Great for when you have a good hide, but you have to hunt a crosswind. Spread number 3, and it's the last one we're going to talk about today, is one that I personally like to use a lot when it comes to field hunting, or you know, things are just not quite working right. They're not liking the U-shaped spread, and we need to go more blob mode is what I would call it. But this spread is pods, or like a W spread. What I like to do is leave some space. Leave some space for the ducks to be able to choose where they want to go. Instead of giving it a defined hook shape or a U shape, the W or the blobs or the pods, it gives the ducks multiple places to land. So it works really good when you have a wind at your back. You can just turn this depending on the wind. So you can hunt this with a crosswind, you just have to turn it. It's great because it spaces out your decoys a little bit. You're able to focus a lot of motion into one area where you want these birds to land, and it just adds a bigger footprint, I feel. So if you guys are looking to, you know, change something up, maybe they're not liking your spread, your hide's good. Your hide has to be good. Before you go change your decoy spread in the field, check your hide. Make sure you're hidden, make sure all of your faces are concealed. That's gonna be the biggest thing, because I think a lot of guys hop to moving decoys before looking at the blinds. So look at your blinds first and then address the decoy spread. The decoys need to be moved, let's say if they're short stopping you, or, I mean, that could be hide too, but if the ducks aren't landing or finishing where you want them to move, that's when I would probably move the decoys. But if the ducks just straight up aren't coming in, check your hide. But the W spread is great because it gives them multiple places to land. You can adjust your spinning wings and your water motion decoys to basically focus the duck's attention where you want it to focus. It's a nice little way to give the ducks some options and make things just look a little bit different to those ducks that have been seeing the same stuff all the time. And something else I want to note to sign this video off with is that don't overthink it. It's not rocket science, it's duck hunting. Throw your decoys out there, make sure you're hidden, have a good time, but these are great options for you to try to mimic when you're out in the field, but don't overthink it. A lot of guys get too hung up in the decoy spreads and trying to adjust them 2 foot this way, 2 foot that way. And over the years, I've come to find out half the time I'm just tossing them. I'm not really making a shape. I'm kind of thinking, okay, I want a pocket here, but I'm gonna just, you know, wiggle these decoys around, throw them out there, and this is where I want the birds to land. Take some time in the field, play with it, see what you like, but biggest piece of advice I can give you is check your hide, get it hidden as good as you can, play the wind right, and leave a kill hole for those ducks. You should find success this fall. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, and make sure to stay tuned because we've got more hunting content coming your way, and I will catch you guys on the next one.